Hey guys, welcome to another episode on Breakable. On today's episode, we're gonna completely finish the cooling system and fill up with all fluids and take care of some of the odd ends on the wiring. Finish all the wiring on engine bay and take care of some of the wiring inside the chassis, so I could do a test start the engine for the first time in years. So let's get going. Here's the intake side of the engine. I started marking the wiring looms to where I think it should fit. I'm trying to route the wires as clean as I could think of. I think I got the part where it connects to the intake manifold kind of figured it out, so I'm going to put the intake on and then keep going from there.
Sound asleep. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die. So come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me.
I got their intake manifold on, and I started doing all the wiring, so everything kind of goes in as intended, because anyway, so all the wiring on the engine seems to be done at this point. So here's a heater coil. It's just a clamp right there. Come on. There's no light. Okay, there's a clamp right there. And the one below that line, the return line, is actually one of those plastic adapters like this, right? So what I did was I had, let me see if I have it. There you go. So this is basically a line from one of my old E46. What I did was, this is the existing one which had on the E90. So if you see the grooves, because of the grooves, it fits like this, like right there. And when it does fit like that, the only problem was the tube keeps hitting the the brake booster. So I removed another one from one of the E46 cooler line, so it's basically a 90 going down, and that's how I did it right there. And what else? So I cut like right here a little bit so I could fit the E90 ECU box, and then I could route all the wires in there, and hopefully I can put the cover on and it seals from the element. That's the plan. And I have the power line for it. My idea is to use the existing E46, connect all the wires to that. Hopefully that'll work out. And thermostat went in fine. Did all the wiring. I had to make this bracket. It's not the prettiest thing, but it works. So it's basically to hold this tube going. It's basically a heater core line, and I got plenty of space right there, and I got some space between the frame and the line. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. Get some space right there. There you go. So that's that. I threw the belt on. Oh yeah, I did the the crankshaft gasket, whatever it is. New belt. Just the intake tube, whatever it is, and yeah. Engine seems like completely filled up the engine bay at this point. Now I'm gonna start working on the radiator and get all that going, and hopefully finish all the cooling tubes by end of the day. So let's go. So let's keep going.
Those hazy days I do remember. We were running still, had the whole world at our feet, watching seasons change. Our roads were lined with adventure, mountains in the way couldn't keep us from the sea. Here we stand, open arms. This is home where we are, ever strong in the world that we made. I still hear you in the breeze, see your shadows in the trees, holding on, memories never change.
So I got the radiator and everything fully bolted up. So at the bottom, let me see if I can show it. So the radiator is held by this bracket. I made a bracket so the radiator slides into it, and the fan gets held by the intercooler right here. And the intercooler is connected. Basically, I have a bracket going from the brace I made to hold the intercooler. So from the bottom, it's the bracket itself is holding the intercooler and the radiator and radiator fan in place. For the condenser, I used those. It's kind of like a zip tie, kind of fan tab zip ties. So I used those, and I squeezed it in between, sandwiched it with the radiator. And this is the posterior cooler. It's zip tied to the brace itself because it's pretty solid there. It's not moving. Anyway, I had to cut. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. I had to cut like a groove to the rail on the top. and I was able to slide the power steering cooler in. So then I made 3D printed these two brackets and kind of like made a bracket to hold the radiator in place, because it's an aluminum radiator, so I cannot make any, weld any braces in there, and it's screwed onto the I guess the brace which comes with the E46. Anyway, it's quite solid, it's not moving. I mean, there's a little bit of flex because I'm using the plastic ones, and I figured it needs it. But yeah, I think it's done. And I have been working on some of the vacuum lines I had to figure out how to get. So there's a line comes out of the throttle body and goes through like a solenoid, and it goes into the fuel tank. So it's kind of like a vent, I assume. So anyway, this is a tube which connects right here, and if you can see it right there. So this part connects right there, and then I had to connect this to the vent line going to the E46 the fuel tank. Anyway, so what I did was I cut the connector, because where's the E46? So this is the E46 vent line. So I bought one of these, I believe it's a vacuum line adapter. It's kind of both thing, and it's the same thing on both sides, so you can connect two different size hoses. So this is a solid plastic line, and what I did was I slid it in and then used a clamp and heated it as well, so it's kind of like really sealed in at this point. Now I'm gonna cut the vent on the E46 from the bottom and slide it into here. Yeah. So we're gonna figure out a way to set the clutch line for E46 to the N54 manual transmission. So this is basically an E46 clutch line. How it goes is this gets plugged into the master cylinder outlet coming by the floor of the driver's side, and this basically gets connected to the slave cylinder by the transmission. But on the N54 manual transmission, it has one of these plug type as well. So I looked around, I couldn't find a clutch cable with this kind of adapter on both ends, so I figured I'm gonna assemble one and hopefully it doesn't leak. Anyway, so this is basically an adapter. It's M10 by 1 millimeter to -4AN, and then I got a -4N female swirl on both ends, and then I got this. It's basically, I'll try to put the part number on. It's a GM type GM clutch adapter or something. That's what I said on the site. Anyway, so the thing is, it has the adapter on one end, but the other end it's a -4AN. So I'm using all these adapters to convert this M10 by 1 to a -4AN, because I couldn't find a direct adapter. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. Okay, before I go into the car and show you the clutch line, I split this vacuum line. I'm using a Y, and I'm routing this. So one is going to these vacuum solenoids going to the intake, and the other one is going under the car. So since we use the M3, hopefully I can show you guys. Since we use the M3 fuel regulator, it needs a vacuum man. So that vacuum is actually getting connected to the, what is this? The fuel regulator. And what else? There you go. There's the clutch line. So it's connected to the flow, the line coming off the master cylinder. That's fine. So here's the adapter we used. So since the line got longer with the adapter, there's another let me see. There you go. So there's this adapter which connects to the metal tube. So I removed that. It's like extension, I guess. So inside that, I'm just plugging it in straight into the metal line. Oh, sorry. What else? Oh, here's the evaporator thing I told you for the fuel system, I guess. So this is basically the line coming from the. Can you see it? I can't even see it. So that's basically the line coming off the intake, and then it's going to another solenoid, and then it's connected to the breather or whatever line goes to the fuel system. I mean the fuel tank. That's about it. So now I think what I have left is the line coming off the brake booster to here. I kind of had to modify it because it's a hard line and it's shaped in a way so it fits in the E90, so I had to modify that. Then I have the canister, so I made the bracket here for the canister and the coolant reservoir. Yeah, so I think that's about it what we have. I had to do still haven't started the wiring part yet, so let me get the coolant reservoir and the vacuum pump thing, and then we keep going. Alright, so I'm like 95% sure I got most of the cooling system done. I mean, I got that 5%. I'm not sure if I missed something, but I'm pretty sure I got everything hooked up and full settled in. So time to fill up with coolant and hope it does not leak. That's all I can do. I just filled only like half a gallon to see if there's any leaks. So far so good, so I'm gonna keep going. So let me give you a walk around. Almost all of the wirings on the engine bay is complete. I fixed all the vacuum lines. So I actually realized there's a line coming off of the line coming from the brake booster. The line coming off the brake booster, there's a extra nipple. So I used that for the fuel regulator. I don't know what it was used for on the 335, but it works for me. Yeah, that's about it. And so I'm using the lead wire from the E46. This piece is actually from E46, and I'm connecting the power cable coming off of the alternator and starter to it. And there's this, I believe this is a safety wire. On the 335 it came in separately from the battery with the whole adapter from it, but I'm just gonna give it power directly. I hope it works. Other than that, the ECU is completely stock from 335i. I had to slightly modify the opening right here so the box would fit perfectly. Yeah, so that. So the only thing I'm missing is, so there is a fan coming from the inside. I believe that is to cool the ECU. I don't know if I want to cut the firewall or if I want to use a fan from outside. I don't know. I'm still working on that. I'll figure something out. But to do a test start, I think this should be fine. And let's go inside the car. So Here's a fuse box. So this is basically the fan I was telling you for the ECU. It goes from in here, connects to the housing, well, behind the firewall. But that doesn't, it's not gonna work because, I mean, I have space. I'm not sure if I want to cut the firewall again because I've done that before. And anyway, so the grounds for the 335 eyes are quite close to the footwell. On the E46, it's usually like somewhere in the middle right here. So what I did was I cut a couple of the ground points from 335i and welded them in. I mean, if you need to, you could just weld some, ground nuts and use that. So I basically have the fuse box from 335i plugged in, and then there's the fuel pump. So these are the fuel pump wires, and these are the two adapters from the 335. One is for the fuel pump power, this one, and this is for the fuel level sensor. So those wires are pretty distinctive. You could identify it. I cut the fuel pump, the power end from the E46, and I soldered the wires in. So it's basically brown, should be always ground. I think so, at least. So I connected the ground to ground, and then this red and white wire coming from the on the E90 wiring harness. I figured that is the signal wire, so I used that to the blue and white on the E46. And the other two are basically for the sensor. It's there's one black and brown, the other one is black and red, and I believe they are the same on both E46 and E90. So that wasn't, that much difficult. I didn't plug the fuel pump in yet because I want to crank the car a couple of times, to get the oil circulating before I do anything. There's the rest of the wires, and now to the front. So actually the front wiring went smoother than I anticipated. It's probably because I'm using the E90 crossbar and things like that. I had to weld a couple of rib nuts. I don't know if you can see it. So this box is basically the LCM, or the light control module. Didn't have any points to screw that in, so I welded two nuts and I screwed that to it. And the same thing for the ground on the front as well. E46 does not have ground leads in the front, so I cut two ground nuts from the E90 and welded them in. Throttle pedal. So I compared. I cannot throw the E90 throttle pedal in, but the E46 and where's the E90? So here's the E90 throttle pedal, and here's the E46, which I plugged it in, and they basically have the same kind of adapter. So I figured it should be the same. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if there's some calculation things it's different. I don't know, but I'm using the E46 throttle pedal, and I think it should work out. So here's the cast module. So the cast module has a wire coming from the main wiring harness, and then I believe the cast has actually no. That's about it. And then I have the adapter for the key and the start button, and you need the clutch pedal switch as well. So, and I have the cluster. I think at this point, all we had to do is try cranking the car. Oh, by the way, I connected the ground. I'm not sure. So there are quite a few of the grounds I haven't connected, but I connected the ground the closest to the fuel pump right here. If you can see it, there you go. So I figured it's ground in the fuel pump, and then on the passenger side, I used the ground as well, because I think this ground is for the radiator fan. I think so. I'm not sure, but yeah. So let me, tighten the battery, and let's try cranking it. Alright, so I'm gonna connect the battery. Alright, it's connected. Let's see if I can keep this somewhere. Alright. Where's the fire extinguisher? I'm gonna get the fire extinguisher just in case. Get in. Okay, the cluster is on. Okay, things are turning on. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna crank it one more time. It cranks, but will it start? On. One more time. Okay. Now I'm gonna connect the fuel pump, and let's see if it'll prime. Okay, fuel pump is connected. I can hear the fuel pump. The water pump, which is running. I don't see any leaks.
Thousands of tears later.
Tinggal nampak tour no.
Now that the car started, let me show you why it wasn't starting earlier. Um, so when I was reading the code, it was showing crankshaft position sensor, high voltage error, a couple of those errors, and fuel pressure line high as well. So I figured where all those sensors are. So here's the crankshaft sensors right here in the front. Actually, that's the tiny ones. And then the fuel pressure sensor is behind the rail. So when I traced the wires, it was actually going through here, and it was this white connector. So what I realized is I just took it out and I was checking it, and then I realized that I did not put the clip in properly. Like, even though it looks like I put it in, when you lock into the ECU, it wasn't actually touching it, so it was a bit higher. So I had to readjust the position of this whole connector, and that worked out. And the other reason was so I'm using the E46, the positive terminal, so it has this I guess it's a safety rig. So what's happening was, like, this thing pops out of it, so I had to adjust it and fully push it in, and now it's locked in. Let's see. So it still jumps out. So when you push it in fully, it locks in, and then it gives full contact. So what was happening is I was getting 13 volts at the battery, but I was not getting 13 volts at this terminal. So it's basically that wire where it connects. And yeah, now the engine starts. Alright guys, that's it for today. So we finally started the car. It's a huge milestone, but we're not there yet. We still have a lot of things to get done on the car before it's I'm able to put it on the road safely and not worry about major things. Anyway, so at this point, I'm fairly confident that I can get the rest of the stuff done. I have to handle the brake system. I have to make sure it's fully functional. Then I have to get the lights and things like that. Those are like the main things I need to get done. The doors, the wipers, and the windows, and all the other electrical amenities is not priority right now to get the car running. So, keep watching, and I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and keep breaking bold.